and fight for their rights, as he identified the battle for language and the fight against delimitation as two critical challenges. So in a rapidly evolving India, where multilingualism is a gateway to cognitive development, cultural integration and global opportunities, Tamil Nadu's obstinate resistance to the NEP 2020 is both regressive and is it self-defeating? Many are left wondering if the tirade has now been pushed beyond limit by the Stalin government. In fact, let's break down some facts for you, from the fight over funds to the delimitation debate and the face-off over NEP and the subsequent Hindi imposition row. The centre versus Tamil Nadu government is only intensifying by the moment. Today, Stalin took it up by a notch. He's blamed Hindi for the weakening of several other languages across North India. And if this is what his bid is, to reject and object against the contentious national education policy, then here's why the attack is completely unwarranted. We'll tell you why so. The research details that the said languages have weakened due to socio-political factors. Let me also name just a few of them. Factors like urbanization, the dominance of standardized Hindi in education and media over decades has preceded NEP 2020. Moreover, the policy itself does not accelerate this trend. Secondly, the national education policy itself does not look to promote Hindi hegemony but multilingualism. The NEP does not prioritize Hindi over other Indian languages. It allows states like Tamil Nadu to continue their two-language policy or even adopt a third language of their choice. In fact, the word Hindi is just mentioned once in the NEP 2020 policy paper. The policy's flexibility aligns with India's linguistic diversity, and the claim of Hindi swallowing other languages lacks direct linkage to NEP provisions. So in his attempt to attack the centre, MK Stalin has now gone after the Hindi language. So if Stalin thinks Hindi swallowed Maithili, Awadhi, Bundeli, Magahi, even Chhattisgarhi, Santali and Angika among many others that he has named, then is it even correct to say that Tamil swallowed Irula, Toda, Kurumba, Kota, even Pataga, or that Kannada swallowed Tulu or Kudava as well? He has no answers for that. Or that Telugu swallowed Pattapu, Konda and even Gondi, or did Malayalam swallow Kumbaran, Palyan and even Malasar? Is the opposition to the national policy more political than anything else? And in the course of his attack, has Stalin completely jeopardized the future of students? Because Dravidian parties claim that imposition of Hindi on students, and that's something that they will not be standing for as far as imposing the language on the students is concerned. But the national education policy does not mandate Hindi at all. As part of the three-language policy, it's only mandating two native or Indian languages. Remember, the DMK government claims that NEP fringes on states' autonomy, on education, which is a matter in the concurrent list. But the fact is that the policy allows states to customize implementation based on their own unique needs. The three-language policy is also seen as a burden on school kids by the DMK, which is why they want to stick to the two-language policy, but the centre maintains that this policy and its restructuring allows for more flexibility. So as far as the entire Hindi storm is concerned, and now that Stalin's direct attack on Hindi is becoming a thorn in the eye for the centre, do even facts agree with Chief Minister's own assertion? That's a question we'll be posing to our guests in just a bit.
இதை பார்த்த ஒன்றிய அரசு இந்திய திரைக்கலன்னு சொல்லிக்கிட்டு அதுக்கான எல்லா முன்னெடுப்புகளையும் எடுத்துக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
It's the extended drama of DMK continuing. The real issues of the state are trying to be forgotten here. And instead of facing the real issues, the DMK wants to divert the attention to Hindi.
right. Tom Vadakan, who's the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, P. Gandhi, who's the spokesperson of the DMK, Lakshmi Ramachandran, who's the spokesperson for the Congress Party, will be joining us in just a bit. Also joining me is Mr. R. Rajgopalan, who's a senior journalist. Many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining in. Mr. Vadakan, if I may begin with you to set the tone for this debate, I want to know, why are you saying that education is being weaponized by Mr. M.K. Stalin and that they are diverting the other real issues on ground level in Tamil Nadu?
Look, I'm sure this is something that we have to see in its perspective. There are elections coming.
Pardon my interjection, but I specifically meant ground issues because today only we witnessed that protest by student bodies and the DMK.
Yeah, that's precisely what I'm coming to. The ground reality is that they have to present a report card which is failing in its entirety. That is law and order, governance issues, corruption. Now, what else can they raise? The issue that they can raise is the language issue, because this is basically an issue which it's an evergreen issue they raise time to time during election time. Now, let me take the argument to the perspective.
Okay.
Now, this Dakshina Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha, formed in the year 1918 by none other than Mahatma Gandhi. Now, this is not BJP's contribution to Tamil Nadu. This is Mahatma Gandhi. They're opposed to Mahatma Gandhi, so be it. I'm just putting facts on perspective. Now, who are these people whom they are, keen to do agitations? Students apart. Are people who for opposing Hindi in the earlier agitations. Whether it is 30, that was the earlier years when the Congress was in power. You had the Indira Gandhi's imposition of Hindi. Then you had Raj attempted the same. And they are same in alliance with them. So their problem is not with Hindi.
All right.
The problem is political. They are weaponizing
points taken, and those are points that we've been hearing in the last 2 days as well, but very valid points. Let me quickly bring in Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi, how do you respond to BJP's, I don't think I would even like to say defense, but these are facts that we are all aware of as far as Hindi imposition during the previous Congress rules is concerned. But how do you, most importantly, respond to Dakshin Bharat Prachar Sabha, which has in fact been observing on ground level the kind of rise in Hindi in the state of Tamil Nadu itself?
See, that itself is a proof that we are not against any particular language, whether it is Hindi or even Sanskrit.
Then why are you calling it an imposition?
Yeah, that is what I am coming to. Anyone is free to learn any language in Tamil Nadu. We are not against it. And we have provided enough institutions. As far as Mr. Tom Vadakan's query is concerned, we do have a Hindi Prachar Sabha, which is headquartered in Chennai and also has a regional office in Trichy. Last year alone, around 540,000 candidates appeared for Hindi examinations conducted by the Hindi Prachar Sabha. We haven't objected to it. So therefore, we are not against Hindi per se. We are against the imposition of Hindi.
No, but I think we are misleading our viewers and the people of this country. Mr. Gandhi, please allow me to interject you over there, because when you are saying that you are not against any Hindi language, Hindi as a language, or you're actually against the imposition of it, but the BJP has already put it on record that they are not imposing Hindi as a language. The 2020 NEP policy goes on to talk about how it is extremely flexible and that Hindi is going to be an optional language.
What is the flexibility here? We are following a two-language policy. That is the language of mother tongue and also a link language, which is English. And with this two-language policy, Tamil Nadu has developed more than any other Hindi-speaking states. And now what is the need for Hindi? A language is a mode of communication. It should have some sort of utility. If you say we need to learn Hindi, what is the utility Hindi is providing for Tamilians? Are we going to come and work in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar? No. We are having English as a link language, and we have developed to a large extent. Now, without any utility, if you are asking us to learn Hindi, that is an additional burden.
But why should that be the state's decision? Shouldn't it be the students' decision to decide whether they want to learn English or choose Hindi over learning English. In fact,
where
the private schools in Tamil Nadu are doing so. I'm going to come back to you, but Mr. Rajgopalan, I want to bring you in on the point of imposition. That's the latest buzzword that's been doing the rounds. Who's imposing their will? Is it the centre or the state? When you just heard what our Honourable DMK spokesperson has to say, Mr. Ramachandran is, in fact, Lakshmi Ramachandran also I'd like to bring in. I'm awaiting her presence. But Mr. Gandhi has in fact gone on to talk about how they are against bringing in a third language. Who's imposing whose will? On who? Why should they be against a third language being included? That too, which is optional.
No one is imposing no language. And it is a politics played by DMK. DMK spokesperson should know we are in 2025, not in 1965. The reason, Akansha, if you go to any Tamil town, either Tirunelveli, Coimbatore, Madurai, deep south Rameswaram or even Chennai, if you go to a sari shop, 100% Hindi speaking persons are there, imposed on them by DMK government and ADMK government. It is Mr. Karunanidhi who built the state secretariat and also assembly where 5,000 Bikharis have been brought in, and moreover it is diversionary tactics of DMK. Second, I tell you, DMK MPs, MLAs, ministers run school, even chief minister run the school where 3 language formula is adopted, where Hindi is taught. Why do they do this drama? Because Seeman, the political leader, Vijay, Annamalai, lot of youngsters have come to take on directly Mr. Udayanithi. That is why they are instigating this Hindi.
How do you respond to that? In fact, that I don't know if should be labeled as an accusation, but how do you respond to that, Mr. Gandhi?
What is he speaking about? When Mr. Karunanidhi, he says Karunanidhi brought Hindi about the laborers from Uttar Pradesh and
Yes. 5,000 laborers from Bihar.
So is he saying that we Tamilians are also by learning Hindi should go to Bihar and work in construction industry?
I am in Delhi.
We are in the United States of America, and
those who are in Delhi, those who are in Bombay, those who are in Lucknow, Tamilians are facing problems
high-end jobs
because of this.
Learning Hindi, whereas Mr. Rajagopalan says if you learn Hindi, you will become a construction laborer. Then what is the purpose of learning Hindi? What is the utility of Hindi?
No, but you can't do away with the fact that there are construction laborers. Are you demeaning the dignity of labor which already prevails in this country? We are sitting, and in fact, as I speak, I'm sitting in a building which is very much constructed by those laborers.
The point is very simple.
Please do not disrespect those laborers who are very much involved in our daily existence. They are building the buildings that you are very much seated in currently. So let me not get there.
That is the utility of Hindi.
No, please don't look down upon these laborers and provide them the due dignity of labor. Mr. Vadakan, I want to bring you in on the point as far as the DMK's Dravidian model is concerned. Do you see this entire language imposition allegation now exposing the hypocrisy of the Dravidian model when we talk about, or rather the Chief Minister himself tom-toms about it?
Akamsha, this concept of Dravida Karagam, they are the leaders of the Dravidian, that is Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra and what have you. And incidentally, I also want to put it on record. 3 chief ministers, Jayalalitha ji from Karnataka.
Yes.
Then you had M.G. Ramachandran from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala. And then you have Karuna's roots in Andhra Pradesh. So, where their chief ministers come from different states, and they tend to say that they are the leaders of the Dravidian community, why can't they opt for Malayalam? Why can't they opt for Kannada? Now, these languages are not the issue. For them, it is the Hindi, the Red Bull. It's like that the Red Bull chasing the red color. Their color, the only provocation is the elections that are coming in. And so they weaponize it. Now, there are 40 schools run by DMK politicians, including the chief minister's relative and the sons whose children are in CBSE schools. They're all to study whatever language they want,
All right.
including. So why this partition attitude towards government school students?
Okay.
Why are they treated as second-class citizens? And why are they not allowed
Mr. Gandhi, how
to
would you
study
respond
the
to that,
language they
given
want?
that you are talking about construction laborers coming from northern states?
His son is learning German. What is the answer from DMK spokesperson?
Right.
Tamil Nadu
Many
Education
questions. And
Minister-
Lakshmi,
I got-
I appreciate your
I got
patience.
made of-
Just give me another minute and I'll come to you, Lakshmi Ramachandran, as well. But Mr. Gandhi, I'd like to hear you respond.
I have made our position very clear in the beginning itself. We are not against any language, whether it is German, French, or Malayalam, or Tamil, Malayalam,
you are in
Kannada, or
position.
Hindi.
You
Then
are
let
saying
students,
We are
then
only
let
against imposition
students
in any
decide.
form,
Let
whether it is
students
directly or
decide.
indirectly. And secondly, we are talking about when you are imposing a particular language, there should be some sort of utility. Hindi does not have any utility in Tamil Nadu. By learning Hindi, we are not going to gain anything. Then what is the purpose?
All right, so you clearly said that a student's world begins and ends with the state of Tamil Nadu. And if you're saying that it has no utility, and first of all, why would you say so? Mr. Madakkan, how do you respond to that allegation that Hindi has no utility in a state like Tamil Nadu? And also, are we now raising students only vis-a-vis with regards to states?
Very strange logic, Akansha. What do you answer to a question like this? We find Tamilians across. They are there in Kashmir to Karnataka to Kerala to you name it. They are there. They are speaking all the languages that India has. And here is the chief minister tweeting the number of languages that have been, monetized, I would say, by the India government. The fact of the matter is, Yogendra Yadav, who has nothing to do with the BJP, has said that the chief minister of Tamil Nadu is insulting these languages.
All right.
It comes from Yogendra Yadav. If there is a writing on the wall, Mr. Stalin and his company should read it.
All right. Lakshmi Ramachandran, first of all, thank you for so patiently awaiting your turn. But I want to bring you in from on the major attack. I will give you time, sir. This major attack being launched by the DMK and in fact even the BJP is using it now as far as their defense is concerned, that in 1965 was the real imposition, because that was the time when Hindi was a prescriptive language and that was real imposition of the language, and that the DMK should be questioning their ally, and that it was then that the language was being weaponized. It's not being done by the BJP. How do you respond to that?
Good evening. See, school education was in the state list and it's now in the concurrent list. So whatever is decided, it has to be decided in concurrence. The central government can come with their policy, but the state government has the right to customize it to their requirements. So that is what happened. When the center decided something, we've always had two-language policy as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. Now, I don't want to approach this whole issue emotionally. I want to talk to you about the pedagogy behind the two-language policy in school. See, we have been teaching two languages all over India.
Mr. Rajgopalan, she let her speak because she let you speak.
Stand up Rahul Gandhi and DMK.
Okay,
All right.
Yes,
We'll come to that, Mr. Rajgopalan. Mr. Rajgopalan. Yes, Lakshmi, I would want you to answer those questions also.
Yes,
as you
I
speak,
did
please
answer.
go ahead.
Let me say
Yes,
whatever I want.
yes, please go ahead.
There are all over India for 75 years. We have been teaching at least two languages across all schools: government schools, urban schools, rural
But the
schools.
bone of contention is why be so stubborn about having a third optional language? It's going to be
Yes, let
optional.
me finish. That is where I am coming. Please let me finish. So the second, what is the proficiency? I assume that most of the students would have learned English as a second language. What is the proficiency of children in India? We are talking about government schools in the English language. The reason is it's very limited. The reason is when the language is not there in the environment of the children, the success that you can achieve with language teaching will be very limited. We need a lot of resources to teach a language. Unlike science or mathematics, the students should hear the language. Just a 45-minute period with the textbook is not going to do the job. So that is the reason we should focus instead
All right.
of now introducing a third language. We should focus on teaching two languages, that is the mother tongue and English.
All right, no, but I'm sure you will agree. Okay, okay, Mr. Rajgopalan, I'm coming to you at a time when we are looking at how multilingualism is opening a cognitive gateway for students.
Against Congress. What is the Congress stand now? DMK started anti-agitation against Congress, against statehood, against.
Can we have a coherent discussion, please? Can we please have a coherent discussion over here?
Congress is silent. Why Rahul Gandhi is silent on Stalin?
Lakshmi Ramachandran, why is Rahul Gandhi silent?
I think he has said what he has to say, but he is silent. He's always said that he respects the sentiments of the states. If Tamil Nadu feels that with two language format, with the two language policy, we can achieve better. Respect our sentiments.
DMK is politics. They are doing
Remember
politics.
that
And
in school
Congress is
education,
doing Jalsa with them.
So the
Many
state
Congress leaders are
has
also
the
running
right
schools
to
in Tamil Nadu. with the
determine our
two-language
policy.
formula. Many Congress leaders, Sakansha, in Tamil Nadu are having three-language formula, colleges and institutions. Why they are hiding that? They are doing politics.
All right, I want to bring in Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi,
We are
at a
talking
time.
about
All right.
you tell me in UP and Bihar and any other state, what is the proficiency of students in languages other than their own mother tongue? You tell me that. How successful have we been?
No, that's a question I'd like to pose.
India. We in fact prescribe the two language policy all over India. I mean, this is I have been a former educator. I've been a researcher in education. I would actually.
I want to bring in Tom Vadakan on that note. Tom Vadakan. Tom Vadakan, I think you will be able to respond to what the Congress stance is right now. That, you know, what is the proficiency of this language? Why are we now looking at national academics from a state point of view is what I'd like to ask.
See, Akamsha, when you follow a national policy, this is tailored to the entire country. This is not specific to Tamil Nadu or Kerala or what we have said is we are not imposing any language. The child or the student has an advantage of picking any of those languages. There is no imposition. The Congress party needs to answer when Indira Gandhi imposed the two-language policy and imposed Hindi. There were outbursts, but then now they are together. So, what is their ideology behind this kind of an operation, which is just garnering of votes? Tamil today is now established as a classical language. The Prime Minister took it to United Nations. What more respect does a Prime Minister of this country has given to Tamil Nadu? And if he's done all this, this comes out as a politics of weaponizing. I repeat my words, weaponizing the language.
Okay,
and
1 minute, one minute.
1 minute. This educationist says, what are the languages being taught in Bihar? In Uttar Pradesh, there are languages.
You know, that is exactly. That is exactly the question I want to pose to Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi, let's leave it open to the students to decide, because remember, there are a host of socio-cultural, socio-political factors, even urbanization, which goes into determining the choice of a student. And why shouldn't we look at it from the prism of promoting multilingualism instead of looking at it as imposition?
Where is the question of multilingualism? First of all, nobody is answering what is the need for a three-language policy.
Why not? Let the students, in fact, children of the younger generations believe there should be 6 languages being given as an option. Mr. Gandhi, let's have a democratic discussion. Let me also share my view.
You are not allowing anybody else to speak.
I'm just giving you an idea, Mr. Gandhi, that students want more languages as options. How do you respond to that when students want more options?
If we are in 2025, we are living in an era of robotics and artificial intelligence. In this era, you teach some languages which is useful, like artificial intelligence, Java, or maybe quantum physics, instead of teaching this Hindi, which has no utility.
Okay, quick 15 seconds. Quick 15 seconds to Mr. Rajgopalan.
My answer to them is anti-Hindi agitation demonstrators of 1965 are being paid by the taxpayers' money, pension.
Okay.
Why should DMK pay
Okay,
that?
and my answer is that let the students of India, not just Tamil Nadu, decide what they want to choose. Many thanks to you,
Students should decide.
Lakshmi and the gentleman for joining in. Now, in a big boost to India-EU partnership, a long-pending free trade agreement has been finalized upon. We'll decode the implications of it on the other side. Stay tuned to Plate Speak.
Think of it, a modestly successful comedian. President Zelensky talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won, that never had to start and never would have started if I was president, not even a chance, and it didn't start for 4 years. He refuses to have elections, is low in the real Ukrainian polls. I mean, how can you be high with every city is being demolished? It's hard to be high. Somebody said, oh no, his polls are good, give me a break. Every city is being demolished. They look like a demolition site, every single one of them. And the only thing he was really good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle. He played him like a fiddle. That's an expression we use, yes, sir, to say that he's pretty easy. Something I'll admit that only Trump is going to be able to do in the Trump administration. We're going to be able to do it. I think Putin even admitted that. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably maybe he wants to keep the gravy train going. I don't know what's the problem, but he hasn't been able. He's very upset that he wasn't invited. He could have come if he wanted to, but that he wasn't invited to Saudi Arabia. But he's been working for 3 years. There's never been even meetings or phone calls to stop this war. It's a horrible thing. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions of people have unnecessarily died. And you can't bring a war to an end if you don't talk to both sides. You got to talk. They haven't been talking for 3 years.
Mr. President, you talked about having common ground with Keir Starmer, but there are things you disagree on as well. You described Zelensky as a dictator. He describes President Putin as a dictator. Do you see that as a problem?
The relationship between President Zelensky and President Putin is not a good one. You've noticed, right? It's not a good one. It's not a good relationship. And we're going to have to try and work something out. Sometimes that happens. I get along with both. I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I think I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky. And now we're doing the deal, and we're going to be in there. We're going to be actually in there and digging our hearts out. And hopefully, we need the rare earth, and we have some here, but we don't have enough. Our economy is very strong, and we need a lot of things that in some cases we don't have here. So I think we're going to have a very good relationship, but the relationship between them is not the best.
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
Welcome back. The European Union's top leadership has undertaken a historic visit to India with an aim to strengthen commercial and diplomatic ties amid strained relations with the United States. EU President Ursula von der Leyen, along with her College of Commissioners, engaged in high-level discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other top government officials. Why does it matter? Let's break it down for you. The EU chief's visit to the national capital has arrived as a massive boost to the partnership between New Delhi and Brussels. India and the European Union have agreed to finalize a long-pending free trade agreement by the end of this year. They will enhance cooperation in the sectors of trade, technology, connectivity and even defense, highlighting that India-EU strategic partnership is natural and that at its core is trust and shared belief in democratic values. Prime Minister Modi even announced that there will be increased focus on the India-Middle East-Europe economic corridor. But there's more to this. Ursula von der Leyen's visit comes at the backdrop of US President Donald Trump's pending Brussels' traditionally close partnership with Washington, leaving EU on the lookout for new allies such as India. The country is just the right fit. So here's why the Delhi visit is significant for the European Union. This visit marks Brussels' latest effort to reduce dependency on the United States, particularly since Trump's return to the White House. The EU is looking to emerge as a stable global partner for business and is looking to build renewed reliance on trusted allies. Now, as far as EU chief in India is concerned, they have also been abandoned by Trump, and now that EU is reaching out, is Europe needing India more than ever? That's a question we'll be posing to our guests.
India is a like-minded friend. We are the two largest democracies in the world. We are bound by shared convictions and values. From resilient supply chains, we are shared interest to a free and open Indo-Pacific. We're working together.
हमारी पार्टनरशिप को एलिवेट और एक्सेलरेट करने के लिए कई महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लिए गए हैं। बायलैटरल फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को, एफटीए को इस वर्ष के अंत तक संपन्न करने का निर्देश दिया।
Right, and joining me on the broadcast is Ambassador Anil Vadva, who's a former diplomat. I'll also be joined in by Tara Kartha, who's a former director at NSCS in just a bit. But Ambassador, thank you so much for joining in. I want to ask you, when Prime Minister Modi says that the India and EU relationship, especially the strategic partnership, is one that is very natural and organic, how do you see this through the prism of the changing geopolitical climate?
Well, I think EU and India have been engaging with each other at the highest levels for quite some time now. In fact, after 2021, we've seen a definite change in the way both parties have engaged with each other. The focus has been much more on technology, and that's why we had the technology and trade partnership, which was announced, and the first meeting was held earlier. This is the second such meeting. But meanwhile, many things have happened. And of course, we have to look at it in the context of what's happening in the world today. As you rightly pointed out, it's the question of Europe looking for new partners in the light of the strain that it finds itself, the transatlantic partnership finds itself because of the new presidency in the United States. But of course, a visit of this nature, which is a very high-powered delegation from the European Union, has to be prepared for much in advance.
Right,
so
Ambassador, I'm sure you'll agree that our defense cooperation and strategic partnership is now going to strengthen. It's also a sort of a new beginning because remember, as far as maritime security is concerned, contribution to security in the Indo-Pacific is concerned, we are just getting started. Remember, it was only in October of 2023 that our first set of naval drills between Brussels and New Delhi actually happened.
You're right, absolutely. And that was a very significant exercise of the Gulf of Guinea in 2023. And of course, the focus now from the European Union on a future security and defense partnership is something which is very notable. This was actually announced by Ursula von der Leyen when she was speaking at a think tank earlier this morning. But then we heard about it also in the joint press conference. And it has many elements to it. It's not just the naval cooperation, it has
Yes.
cybersecurity and counterterrorism as well. And plus, the interoperability which will come in later with these kind of exercises. This is all very significant.
Ambassador, how do you respond to now the fact that EU is looking for a reliable partner, and soon after touchdown, that's what the EU president had to say. Ursula von der Leyen's first words were trusted friend, strategic ally. Why the use of strategic ally now?
As I said, that now the EU finds itself in a position where it needs to find partners around the world who are reliable supply chain partners in particular. So we are not just looking at plain trade and investments. We are also looking at countries which have the manufacturing capability and with whom the EU can do business in the new age industries. India is definitely one of them. In fact, at top of the list, if I would say so, because of its trained manpower and the amount of work that India has done in AI, for instance, and also in terms of the transition to the new age industries. So the EU definitely looks at India with new eyes today and would definitely like to partner with India in all these fields. And for that, a number of steps have also been announced today, as we can see in the joint statement.
How much of it would you attribute to a mercurial US president such as Donald Trump, not to forget the kind of imagery that is now coming out of the Oval Office? Earlier we've seen how the French president had to make that polite intervention when the Ukraine conflict was being discussed, or the funding for it. And today itself we've seen a very conciliatory UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer turn on that charm offensive by offering that invite from King Charles.
So the EU definitely would like to preserve the transatlantic alliance in whichever form it can, because it still needs the backing of the United States for security and defense purposes. And of course, it sees the Ukraine conflict also in that light, where the involvement of the United States in any security guarantees in future becomes crucial as far as the EU is concerned. It does not find itself in a position where it can take on the whole burden all of a sudden. It needs transition time. And although the signs were there for some time, I think the pronouncements of J.D. Vance in Europe, in the Munich Security Conference, for instance, have actually come as a rude shock to many in the leadership in Europe. So obviously there is a realization that you need other partners, that you need to diversify your partnerships, and you want to work with other countries in various fields, including security and defense.
And when you're talking about, diversifying those partnerships, I would also quickly like to bring in Tara Kartha, the former director at NSCS. She's just joined in. Good to see you, Tara. Tara, I think Ambassador has made some very valid points. I think one of them is also about diversifying the needs as far as EU is concerned. We've been discussing how it's looking towards India as at not just a reliable trade partner, which it already has been, given that they'll both be now working towards an FTA. But what's interesting this time around is that there'll be greater focus on upping the defense cooperation. Your thoughts?
I think, see, in terms of the EU itself, I mean, EU doesn't have a defense framework. I mean, it has, but it doesn't work that well, right? It's a more a NATO-centric. It doesn't have an EU defense, all that stuff. But individual countries, you have an excellent relationship with France, for instance. A problem ahead is, as usual, it arises from the Trump, series on China, the Trump things on Europe.
Yes.
EU doesn't have a very strong problem with China. They are okay. I mean, as far as vis-a-vis the US, the EU would prefer that they have that the EU prefers to have a decent relationship with China, though they just had a security and defense dialogue recently with China, where they were irritants, like they didn't like the Chinese called out the fact that the EU took offense to some aspects of Xinjiang. There was aspects of people being deported from Thailand. So all that, the Chinese embassy in Europe has been taking exception to that. But overall, while the EU is worried about the trade deficit with China, which is very high, they don't have actually any security issues with them. So when you're talking of defense, I honestly don't know how it's going to work. Because it's if you have a problem with China, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming the EU would definitely stand for your sovereignty. It would stand for democracy. All the things that we believe in is what the EU also has very, very strongly. Its foundation is based on that. So that, yes, but if push comes to shove, what happens?
I think that's a very critical point, because and moving just away from defense cooperation, I want to bring in Ambassador on the note of the changing global order. Just as Tara was pointing out how EU doesn't seem to be having an issue with China, the United States doesn't seem to be having issues with Russia any longer, and as we speak, the Ukrainian president is very much on American soil. How is this now going to work out for the security framework of NATO overall? And where does this leave NATO, also Ukraine's own demands to become a member of NATO?
Well, I think one thing that we all in India agree on, I think that's fairly clear, is that the membership of Ukraine in NATO is going to be extremely difficult, even though the Europeans might want it that way. Membership in EU, yes, but NATO membership is far off. That's number one. So that means that the Europeans have to step up for their own security in Europe. And that is what President Trump has been urging NATO to step up and take responsibility in terms of whatever happens in the aftermath of a peace deal in Ukraine. Number two, about the rapprochement between the United States and Russia. I think there is a method behind that, because United States would like to concentrate much more on the number one threat that they have technologically for superiority in the world, and that is China. And of course, while in the short term we might see a rapprochement between United States and China also on the trade and investment front, but on the trade and investment front, but otherwise, going forward on the issue of technological superiority and denial of technology, I think the policies of the United States are going to very much continue in the future.
Tara, why is AI occupying such an exclusive space in this whole bilateral relationship between Brussels and New Delhi? Soon after, Prime Minister also co-chaired that AI Action Summit in Paris. We are now seeing AI is very much part of the memorandums of understanding. At the same time, we all know the critical role it will be playing in shaping up this entire relationship. Even Ursula von der Leyen's own visuals of experiencing India's UPI technology have already gone viral.
You're asking me?
Yes, Tara.
No, AI is now very fundamental to any bilateral relationship you're going to have. I mean, this is supposedly an area, I'm not sure about this, but I'm assuming...
I've been interacting with a couple of EU parliamentarians, and it seems that there's special focus on AI and digital technology.
Yeah, because this is it's a key, absolutely critical area in terms of when you talk of ISET, now you talk of the new Trump thing of how we need to go ahead. The AI aspect is so key to all of this. When you're talking of semiconductors, you're talking of anything, all this is the key aspect. So if we have to go forward in technology, we need to take the EU along. I'm just hoping that, if this becomes a bedrock between EU and India in terms of future cooperation, that's a great thing for us. That would be amazing, because we have a lot to contribute in this area. And, people tend to discount the ability of India in this field, but we have some brilliant young minds here. And I've seen this in terms of another area where AI is also crucial in terms of innovation. The brilliance is amazing. All you need is to...
Right. All right, I think I'll let you catch your breath over there. And I'd like to give Ambassador closing thoughts. Ambassador, at a time we are also witnessing this being called a monumental visit, given that, you know, the EU College of Commissioners are visiting their first, you know, country out of EU, and that is India. That's the kind of importance that Brussels is placing on New Delhi. Having said that, at a time, you know, the United States is putting those arrangements and making it even tougher for all of those who are looking towards immigrating. Will EU become a reliable alternate option?
Well, definitely, it's an outstanding kind of visit because the European Union has been preparing for this for some time. And the decision has, of course, been taken many months in advance to have a delegation of this size and stature. So 22 of the commissioners, 27 commissioners of the European Union are here in India, led by Ursula von der Leyen. So that itself is significant. But I think overall, because of the emphasis on technology, and also innovation, this becomes a different kind of visit. And also this morning, when you were talking just now about AI, I noticed that Ursula von der Leyen in particular emphasized on clean technology, AI, and high performance computing at the same time, plus the security aspect. So from all these angles, I think for them, and
Tara, quick 15 seconds for closing thoughts on how this will impact immigration for Indians who are looking to go abroad.
That's going to be a slightly difficult area because the EU overall, you saw in the last elections, the EU is moving to the right. There's no two ways. The vote of the right has doubled itself.
Yes.
It's still not a majority, but after
it's
you
on
just
the rise
saw,
for sure.
Yeah, it is going to be a problem. So the only thing is, one hopes that once you sort of take India's image as a provider of technology, as a market which they want, then the image starts to change.
All right, I'll have to leave it at that. Many thanks to you, Tara and Ambassador Wadhwa, for joining in. Now in an exclusive conversation with Member of EU Parliament Michael McNamara about the many implications of this visit and the Russia factor. Listen in to what he had to say. Talking about India and the EU, it is the equation which stems from a friend in need is a friend indeed. Why do you say so? And what is the need of the hour for Brussels and New Delhi?
Well, I mean, we all need friends, and countries are the same as, and even large blocs are the same. I mean, Donald Trump's government, and I have the greatest of respect for Mr. Trump, maybe more than many have. He's invested heavily in the area that I represented in the Irish Parliament and represent now. Said that. Is quoted as having said that the European Union was founded to screw the United States. Now, that is simply not true. The European Union was founded to stop European countries screwing each other. The European Union has always cooperated very closely with the United States and looked to cooperate closely with other areas. But as we become a more sort of bipolar world with the United States and China racing in an AI race, we clearly need friends and we need allies. And our friends are usually people whose values we share, and clearly there's a lot of overlap between the values of India and the values that have been espoused by India and those of the European Union.
We speak at a time the EU President Ursula von der Leyen, accompanied by the EU commissioners, is coming to New Delhi. Why do you think this is going to be a monumental visit, and what can India and, of course, EU stand to gain in this geopolitical climate which is changing by the day?
Well, as you said yourself, von der Leyen didn't just come here on her own. I mean, she regularly visits countries. I'm sure has visited India many times in the past, but it's the entire European Commission is here. The whole College of Commissioners are here. I'm not aware of that College of Commissioners ever having met outside of the European Union before. The fact that they're doing so here in India is clearly a statement of intent. Clearly, there's a lot more cooperation. We saw your Prime Minister co-host the AI Summit in Paris. Paris, the AI Action Summit in Paris. The next summit is going to be here. That's an area that India is developing rapidly, and it's hoped, the European Union is certainly hoping to catch up with other parts of the world with regard to the use of AI in its industries right across and the digital economy more broadly. And that is, I think, something it shares with India, and that they could work hopefully together for their both benefits, because at the end of the day, any cooperation between states has to be for their mutual benefit. So we need to make sure that our cooperation with India is mutually beneficial, that the European Union benefits, but so does India, because that's how long-standing friendships are maintained.
How do you think the EU is going to now strategize with a tectonic shift with the new Trump administration? As far as the war in Ukraine is concerned, we've seen that tectonic shift under the Trump administration towards Russia. What does that now mean for EU?
Well, on one level, it means that the European Union has to look more carefully at its own security, how it can ensure its own defence and its own security. Many European leaders have said that. But in my personal view is that the European Union also needs to reflect on what has happened, because, a certain approach has been followed. I mean, let's be honest, many European leaders, including from my own state, went and campaigned in the United States elections and campaigned for Donald Trump's opponent. That, in my view, wasn't very wise, and we now see what's happening, partly as a result of that and partly as a result of the platforms on which he's campaigned. I mean, Europe has become perhaps very good at preaching and not very good at talking to people. That, in my view, is very regrettable, and we need to be maybe less preachy in our relations with the world and perhaps less dogmatic and more adopt a more listening approach.
I'd like your response to what the Russian ambassador has just said in his interview to our managing editor. And let me quote what he in fact has to say. He's gone on to talk about how Europe cannot be secured without Russia, Russia cannot be secured without Europe. There's a need for collective security that's acceptable to all. I'd like your thoughts.
I think that's very self-evidently true. I mean, there was a lot of cooperation envisaged at the end of the Cold War, the Helsinki process. I'm not entirely sure that the European side followed through on that they viewed Russia as the equal partner that they could and should have viewed Russia as. I think there was a degree to which certain assurances weren't followed through on. None of that justifies the aggression in Ukraine. Absolutely it doesn't. But I do think it's true, and we need to look at how we can cooperate. There's no point in preaching at each other in the world in which we live. We need to talk to each other, and I think my view is the European Union has been much better at preaching than it's been at talking to Russia, and clearly Russia is a superpower in the world, doesn't like to be preached to. Who does? I don't like to be preached to, but I very much welcome that statement of fact, and hopefully we can start talking to each other about a just peace in the Ukraine and across the continent, which includes.
Geopolitical. Think of it, a modestly successful comedian. President Zelensky talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won, that never had to start and never would have started if I was president, not even a chance, and it didn't start for 4 years. He refuses to have elections, is low in the real Ukrainian polls. I mean, how can you be high with every city is being demolished? It's hard to be high. Somebody said, oh no, his polls are good, give me a break. Every city is being demolished. They look like a demolition site, every single one of them. And the only thing he was really good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle. He played him like a fiddle. That's an expression we use, Yasser, to say that he's pretty easy. Something I'll admit that only Trump is going to be able to do in the Trump administration. We're going to be able to do it. I think Putin even admitted that. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably maybe he wants to keep the gravy train going. I don't know what's the problem, but he hasn't been able. He's very upset that he wasn't invited. He could have come if he wanted to, but that he wasn't invited to Saudi Arabia. But he's been working for 3 years. There's never been even meetings or phone calls to stop this war. It's a horrible thing. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions of people have unnecessarily died. And you can't bring a war to an end if you don't talk to both sides. You got to talk. They haven't been talking for 3 years.
Mr. President, you talked about having common ground with Keir Starmer, but there are things you disagree on as well. You described Zelensky as a dictator. He describes President Putin as a dictator. Do you see that as a problem?
The relationship between President Zelensky and President Putin is not a good one. You've noticed, right? It's not a good one. It's not a good relationship. And we're going to have to try and work something out. Sometimes that happens. I get along with both. I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I think I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky. And now we're doing the deal, and we're going to be in there. We're going to be actually in there and digging our hearts out. And hopefully, we need the rare earth, and we have some here, but we don't have enough. Our economy is very strong, and we need a lot of things that in some cases we don't have here. So I think we're going to have a very good relationship, but the relationship between them is not the best.
Mr. President, do you still think that Mr. Zelensky is a dictator?
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that. Next question.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. As a heated language debate brews in Tamil Nadu, the DMK-led Federation of Student Organizations held a black flag protest on the day of Minister of State for Education Sukanta Majumdar's visit to IIT Madras. The protesters accusing the BJP-led government at the centre of withholding funds to blackmail Tamil Nadu into accepting the NEP or the National Education Policy 2020. M.K. Stalin on his birthday eve has said that Tamil Nadu is confronting two challenges. One is language, the other is delimitation. He said constituency delimitation directly impacts our state's self-respect. On the other hand, BJP State President K. Annamalai has announced a signature campaign beginning the 1st of March to garner public support for the NEP's implementation. On the other hand, Tamil Nadu Raj Bhavan has also said that there is a great need to implement the new education policy, the new national education policy. Raj Bhavan further said that youth of the state of Tamil Nadu currently feel deprived of opportunities compared to the youth of neighbouring states. Meanwhile, Karnataka has also voiced similar concerns regarding the NEP. But first, let's listen into the stinging attack that's come forth from M.K. Stalin.
Tamil Nadu, தன்னுடைய உயிர் பிரச்சனையான மொழி போரையும் தன்னுடைய உரிமை பிரச்சனையான ஒவ்வொருவரும் மாநிலம் காக்க எழுந்து நிற்க வேண்டும். இந்தியாவுக்கே வழிகாட்டியா நாம போராட்டத்தை தொடங்கணும். இப்போ கர்நாடகா, பஞ்சாப், தெலுங்கானா போன்ற மாநிலங்களிலிருந்து நமக்கான ஆதரவு கண்டிக்காதீங்க. அப்படி நடந்தா அதை தமிழ்நாடும் திமுகவும் ஒருபோதும் ஏற்றுக்க மாட்டோம். நாம ஒரு உறுதி எடுத்துக்கணும். தமிழ்நாட்டின் நலனையும் எதிர்காலத்தையும் யாருக்காகவும் எதற்காகவும் விட்டுத்தர மாட்டோம். தமிழ்நாட்டுக்காக ஒன்றுபட்டு போராடுவோம். தமிழ்நாடு போராடும். தமிழ்நாடு வெல்லும்.
Now, is the opposition to this national policy, education policy, more political than anything else? Let's try and understand this. Dravidian parties or Tamil parties playing this entire Dravidian politics claim that it imposes Hindi on students and that's something that they will not accept. But the national education policy does not mandate Hindi at all. It's very unlike the 1968 policy which was resisted, where Hindi was forced. Here, as part of the three-language policy, it only mandates two native or Bharatiya languages. The DMK government claims NEP infringes on states' autonomy on education, which is a matter in the concurrent list. But the fact is that the policy allows states to customize implementation based on their own unique needs, but it urges them to follow a particular template of a three-language policy, the native mother tongue, in which should be the largest core medium of instruction in state government schools, English plus one more Bharatiya language. Now, the three-language policy is also seen as a burden on school kids by the DMK, which is why they want to stick to the two-language policy. This is a fresh argument, but the centre maintains that this policy and its restructuring actually allows for more flexibility and also allows children of other non-Tamil people residing in Tamil Nadu to also have the opportunity to learn perhaps their mother tongue. People from Andhra, people from Telangana, people from Karnataka, people from Kerala, and perhaps even Maharashtra, Odisha, Bengal, etc. But this wouldn't be the first time the Tamil Nadu government has targeted the centre. While the language debate is the latest in a series running through the last few years, it leaves one wondering if this protest launched by the opposition is valid or just one of the many strategies. Delimitation debate accused the centre of cutting seats in the state. The NEET face-off. Even when the centre introduced NEET in 2024, the Tamil Nadu government called it an attempt to interfere in the state's education system and even passed a resolution against NEET in assembly. But NEET recorded perhaps a record turnout of students and also people who cleared the NEET exams from Tamil Nadu. Fund allocation row, the state Stalin government even accused the centre of exploiting its powers under Article 293 of the Constitution and severely limiting the borrowing capacity of the states. Kachativu Island row. On Kachativu Island, Stalin rejected the claim that there was an agreement between the union and the state government over ceding the island to Sri Lanka and further criticized the BJP government for not having taken steps to retrieve the island, although the paper trail points otherwise. Let's go across and open up this conversation. Ashwathaman Alimuttu, the State Secretary, BJP Tamil Nadu, is with us. We also have Sumant C. Raman, political analyst, and C. Rajashekharan, lawyer and political analyst. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. This whole game, let's start with the BJP and with Mr. Ashwathaman. Has this now put the BJP at a place where they're caught? Because Stalin has made this into two-language, support Tamil, back NEP, you are anti-Tamil.
Actually, we are Tamil Nadu people, not only BJP. We the Tamil Nadu people demanding national education policy for the sake of Tamil language, for the sake of survival of Tamil. Because here in Tamil Nadu, despite the Dravidian politicians, even DMK speaking, pretending like they are having interest in Tamil, if you take 10 students in Tamil Nadu, out of 10 students, 5 students not able to read Tamil. Not even a newspaper, sir. Where is the question of reading literatures of Tamil? That is the present situation in the present situation, and as well as the output of the education system, which that it can be called as a two-language policy or other things. But in Tamil Nadu, you can finish your bachelor degree, even not even take a Tamil as a single language in your school and as well as college. Even the son of Education Minister Tamil Nadu gave one interview. The student says that I am not taking Tamil as a language. My third language is French. That is the reason we are insisting national education policy, because national education policy compelling Tamil to read. So imposition on the part of Tamil, not in the part of Hindi. That forefathers, their very idea of the Dravidian ideology itself, E.V. Ramasamy itself, insists that very idea of E.V. Ramasamy is to eradicate Tamil language. Even he was openly called Tamil people to not to speak Tamil, even with your wife, even with your servant. You should speak in English. And as well as E.V. Ramasamy was called people to remove Tamil alphabet. By using English alphabet, you have to write Tamil. That is the very idea of E.V. Ramasamy. Now it has been successfully implemented by the DMK government. Every part of Tamil Nadu, now the students not able to, and as well as they are struggling to read Tamil.
Okay, that's your opening comment, Mr. Rajagopalan. Mr. Rajshekharan. C. Rajshekharan.
Yes.
Namaskaram.
Yes.
Sorry, sir.
Anand.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
No,
your thoughts.
I thought our friend Rajagopalan is on the line.
No.
That's why you called him. No. Okay, anyway, good evening. See, Anand, more than Tamil, Hindi, national education policy, it is pure politics, because BJP is desperately trying all its tricks to enter Tamil Nadu by some way or the other.